Hello and welcome. Welcome to episode 15. And yes, it's the first episode where I've realised that although I've had a very expensive microphone, I haven't had it connected. So if you think my voice is like super ASMR-ish right now, it's because all of a sudden I have a mic that works. Sounds clear, right?
Yeah, and I think it's just unbelievable that it's sat there for 40 plus episodes.
I mean, what an idiot. What an idiot, dude.
Well, people don't complain about the sound quality.
Dude, we got a guest on today. Without further ado, we need to introduce our guest. He is the one and only Jacob Gibbins. I've been wanting to have Jacob on for ages. I've been pestering him. Tell you what, he's a busy man. Thanks for coming along.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your time, mate. Appreciate you. It's really good. Finally nice to connect with you properly as well. We don't know each other, which is always great.
Yeah, no.
It's always good to do
I'm
these.
sure we'll bump into each other at some kind of race or event at some point. It's a miracle we haven't so far. Unfortunately, I see quite a lot of Olly, but what can you do?
We have just spent a week together, and I tell you what, if I spend a week with Jacob, by the end of the week, we're going quite hard at each other. Would you agree?
Yeah, it's not many other people could be in the room and not get...
No. It's funny, dude. We were talking about it, weren't we? It's like we don't really say anything nice to each other by the end of the week, you know?
No,
and that's how I like it.
Every now and again we squeeze in a hug, and then it's all good.
It's all good. You know it's all good. But that's my favourite shit, actually. People that I can just be horrible to and they're horrible back to me. Like, it's a horrible feeling when you're horrible to someone and they're not horrible back. I think that's tough.
Yeah, when it lands.
That's bullying. That's bullying, isn't it? Usually.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but if it's mutual, does it make it better if it's like mutual bullying? Because I'm not a fan of bullies. But then when it's like meanness that's
reciprocated.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
It's okay, isn't it?
Okay. Yeah, I understand. I seen the sort of dirt sandwich that you gave Jacob the other day as well.
Yeah.
I seen him covered in, you facialed him.
Yeah,
with
there's no one I'd rather dirt sandwich. That doesn't sound that good, but
yeah,
sounds better than dirt facial. I feel like.
Oh, dude, we had a good week. We had a cracking week in the valleys, and now we're here, and I'm glad that we got Jacob on. Do you know why I thought it'd be a great idea to get Jacob on? It's because, for me, from the outside, Jacob, you live the life. And I think a lot of our listeners probably are like looking to get into some of the things that, like, from my perspective, you travel around the world riding your bike, taking pictures and video. Is that correct?
Pretty much, yeah. Fairly fortunate, I think.
And you've made a career of it.
Yep, pays the mortgage.
Life
That's nice.
is good.
It's always
right?
a bonus. That is a bonus. But I agree with you, Ollie. I think this subject's super interesting, dude, and I'm looking forward to learning more about Jacob personally. And I know our listeners are going to be listening to this and they'll be frothing to find out more, because there are a lot of unknowns when it comes to finding out how someone got into the bike industry and how they sustain it and stuff like that. And also I agree that a lot of the time it can look really good from the outside looking in, and hopefully, Jacob, it is really good from the inside. But like, there's probably going to be some stuff to talk about as well about it not being so great sometimes.
Yeah,
Would you agree?
No, definitely. It's like any job. You know, there's good days and bad days, and times when it feels like work, and times when it definitely does not feel like work. I'm fairly fortunate that I think the lion's share of my time, it definitely doesn't feel like work. So.
I think it's easy as well for someone who doesn't know what work goes in to kind of just come straight in and just be like, wow, this guy's got the dream job. And that maybe you would think, oh, that hasn't come without hardship. But I remember the early days of Jacob Gibbins.
You with me, yeah, you've been...
No mortgages being paid then, dog. There were no mortgages being paid then.
That was living in my parents' basement somewhere way down in Devon, miles from pretty much any riding scene. So, well, Tabby had a really good riding scene, but to get to any other riding scene was miles.
Can we do like a brief history then, a brief overview of, first up, I feel like we should do Jacob, basically how did you get into the mountain bike scene, and then let's go through and figure out like when you guys first met, started working together and stuff. Is that cool?
Yeah, definitely. Any time to reminisce on those times.
Hey, Jacob, talk about yourself, dude.
Well,
did I make that weird on purpose? I did.
That's your special skill. What do you want to know? Where do we start?
Right. So you got into mountain biking because of the scene in Tavi, would you say?
Yeah. So I grew up way down split between Lancashire, and then when I was 10, moved down to Devon, Tavistock, and shortly after moving there, got into mountain biking properly when I was like 12, 13, something like that. And Tavistock had a really good riding scene. There's loads of good riding down there. Loads of big, deep river valleys and the moors and good natural landscape.
When did you first discover mountain biking? Like, what's like your earliest memory of going, that looks cool?
Going into the supermarket in Oakhampton, which is like the neighbouring town, and seeing an issue of MBUK on the shelves. And rather than going and being dragged around the supermarket with mum, I thought I'll just chill by the magazine articles and read some stuff, and picked up a copy of MBUK and was hooked. Looked through it, was like, Mum, we're getting a bike. And it was an absolute bag of shit. But I think if you learn on an absolute bag of shit, you're a slightly better rider by the end of it.
Yes, it's the key, isn't it? It's the key, no doubt.
I wonder how many teenage boys didn't even know there was magazine racks underneath the top shelf.
Hold on.
I feel like when I just thought all magazines were 6 foot high.
All the good ones, all the ones worth reading, eh?
Yeah.
No, yeah. It was. I can't remember, but it was from 2001 or 2, and had Steve Gill on the cover doing a massive table or something. Nice. Back when MBUK used to have like silverfish adverts with girls in bikinis and stuff, in just so un-PC these days.
Were you about to say the good old days?
No,
or not? You weren't about to. No, you weren't.
That's you.
You
Olly.
were disgusted in those times, weren't you? You were like,
even back then, as a 12-year-old, I was disgusted.
You can believe it.
Oh dear, that's funny. So your first memory is basically seeing MBUK, which is really cool because I think a lot of people probably listen to this might have had a similar experience by discovering it in a magazine shop or something like that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. And then just getting more and more into it, your mates get into it, you go riding in the park, the local wood, the skate park, and it just kind of begins to slowly take over your life, doesn't it?
So what point did you pick up a camera, though? Was there like a point?
Shortly, about the same time, just because my dad had in fact, I have it on the shelf.
Look at that, he's come prepared.
No,
I mean, I'm not going to lie, I was expecting something a little bit better than that. That is... no offence, dude, but...
Look at it!
I mean, is it a Tamagotchi? I mean, is that even a camera?
Yeah, dude, it's got 2 megapixels. 2 megapixels. It's insane.
Wow.
Anyway, that was my dad's little point and shoot that I used to just steal off him every time I went to the woods and going. You're just documenting, how high you're jumping and what your mates are doing and all the rest of it. And I always just ended up getting lumped with the camera more often. And I guess that meant that I got more practice with the camera. And I really enjoyed taking photos as well. I'm a massive nerd, and so I think photography is kind of part creative and part nerdy. So,
yeah, you were photography first, weren't you? You were still image first, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, at the very beginning, it was video, photos, whatever. We were just playing around, filming each other, crash into trees or whatever. And then when it started getting to be more of a hobby in its own right, as well as the cycling, I went down the still photography route because Aaron Bartlett Mono from Creative Concept, who made like all the foot out, flat out films and all that kind of stuff, we grew up together and rode together. So he kind of took the video route and I took the stills route, and together we just always had cameras and documented our local scene down in Devon.
I think that's cool. I think it's cool that, like you say, it's actually a hobby of yours, because me and Jacob see each other a lot when we're doing like work in inverted commas. But when you come riding, you still ride with a backpack with a camera on because you enjoy it. I think that's really cool that you enjoy it outside of work.
Yeah, like I went for a walk around a big park nearby yesterday with my mum and the missus, and took the camera and just taking pictures of crazy autumn leaves and stuff. So yeah, no, I super enjoy taking photos. You've got to keep it fun and still enjoy it. Otherwise, like I said earlier, it could just become work.
Just quickly as well, you said as well, Jacob, which I think is pretty interesting, that you've sort of discovered MBUK first. Did you discover the scene at the same time, or did you then so you find mountain biking, but then how do you find other people that are into it? Did your mates get into it at the same time?
Well, yeah, good question. I guess I had no idea that there was a scene. I maybe thought that there must have been one because there was magazines to do with it, but locally, I just found out through people down at the local park or skate park or whatever that supposedly there's these woods just outside Tavistock that are good for mountain biking. So then you spend your Saturday riding all the way out there with 3 of your mates and spending your whole day in the woods and then riding all the way back. And while you're out there all day, you start meeting more and more riders and all the rest of it. So that just naturally, over the course of years spent in the woods, you just meet everyone, not from just Tavistock, but the riding scene down there was so good that people from all over the country and the world dropped by whenever they were near. And so slowly met more and more people, and that was the excuse to slowly start branching out and travelling.
It's interesting to think about when you first discover stuff, because I was just trying to do it then, and I'm like, wonder when I first discovered it. I know with anything two-wheeled, for me, it's always been there, but I'm trying to think of a hobby that I found that necessarily I didn't grow up with, if that makes sense. Because like I say, our family's always been, my uncle rode motocross and speedway. My dad's always been into it, so I've never had that discovering moment. Yeah, where I'm just trying to think. I know, I played a little bit of ice hockey and stuff when I was a little bit younger, and I think that was discovered through a Nintendo game. I was like, I'll just grab that game, and then all of a sudden you're like, actually, I'd like to try this, and then I started playing hockey. But it's interesting to think back about when you'd first find something and just go like, I didn't even know this sport even existed.
Yeah.
It's weird to think.
No, I mean, my dad's super outdoorsy, or was when he was younger, and was into walking and being out in the mountains. So I was always brought up around the outdoors, and so that side of it was quite natural and appealing. But the actual cycling, no one in my immediate family cycled really or mountain biked, so it was, I guess, down to me.
I think it's kind of built in. Without a magazine, well, for me anyway, without a magazine, you still get on a bike and want to skid or jump or wheelie without ever even seeing someone, or maybe you know what I mean. It's not like I had to see that there was this thing. Like we built jumps, we didn't have a clue that anyone else built jumps. I love the thought of that we thought we were we didn't even think anything. We thought exactly nothing. We were like, I want to jump, so I'm going to build a jump. It wasn't like it was a thing.
Yeah. No, but I guess there's some people who, as a really young child, just running around and playing, like to climb trees and jump out of them and end up breaking their wrists and stuff. I was definitely one of them. And then there's others that just want to chill and read and whatever, play computer games, or there's just some people are more drawn to doing more adventurous outdoorsy stuff. I guess all three of us are those kind of people.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think you're quite right.
Yeah.
So when I first met you was when you were filming one of your early videos, right?
You are. Well, yeah, probably the locals, or maybe even whatever preceded that. I'm not even sure.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if that. What are your if there was an IMDb, a mountain bike IMDb or whatever it is, what were all of your movies? Because I think that's really cool, and I think that's for people getting into it. I always think there's people get into it, they want to get paid straight away or do work for people straight away. And I think it was so cool back then. It was like punk and it was self-initiated. And I had no idea who you were, but you wanted to make a edit, like a video, and you were kind enough to ask me. So I thought that was cool alone, kind of.
That's really cool. Yeah, it's a good question, dude. Like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Way back, I was just looking for it down here. Somewhere on one of these old DVDs is the very first ever video I made on that piece of shit little camera up there, and it's just...
Oh, it was on that one. Yeah.
Oh, it's complete potato cam, but it's just like literally 15-year-old kids. I think Ash Mullane, who used to be kind of NPS, national downhill kind of racer, elite, sponsored by Cove and stuff. He grew up down in Devon, so he was kind of the local resident pro, and so I think he's in it, but then Mono and loads of just other pals of mine. And then that was made just for fun. And then I slowly started wanting to go and film with better and better riders until I'm messaging people like Olly, who back then was riding for DMR, literally head to toe, and just said, can I come and hang out for a few days and we'll just film some bikes, and I'm making a little video. And I think the first one was completely for the love of it. There was no money, no sponsors or anything. It's just me wanting to go and film some biking and getting out there and doing it.
And how long ago are we talking from that one? Like you said, 01 is when you roughly started.
Was that Locals 1?
Yeah. Honestly, 2005, 6, something like that, 7. It'll have been around then. It's still on YouTube somewhere. I didn't upload it, but someone obviously pulled it off Pink Bike or Empora or whatever it would have been back then and has uploaded it to YouTube.
That's a cool idea, actually. We'll have to get all of the any of the old stuff's links and put them in the description of our YouTube. And that'd be cool.
The quality of them is abysmal, and I had no idea what I was doing with a camera or editing. But the music back then obviously is all totally unlicensed, so it's all great. And then all the riding is just like a time capsule. There's loads of people.
Dude, you know what? It's a shame actually when you say that, because you're someone who's also super into music. Like how fun it was, because I don't know how you used to do it, but I used to think I would listen to music, and I still do to a certain extent. I listen to music and imagine it as a video part. And like that was possible back then. Like now, I guess on a bigger project that you might do, but
back then it was I'd almost planned the soundtrack to each section before I'd started filming any of it. I'd be like, these are all the songs I want to use, and then you just go and film, almost pick like, okay, there's this rowdy metal track or Linkin Park or fuck knows what it would have been back then, and then you'd have to go and pick a rider who would do that song justice.
Yeah, because I remember you'd turn up at my house with like a selection, and you'd like play or like an exact song, and you'd play it saying this is what I was thinking for this section or whatever. I think that's rad, isn't it? Like it's not really like everything sounds kind of the same off the same free website now. A little bit, I feel. I think
you're right. It does. But I've spent half my day already today lost in those websites. But
really,
I still favourite songs on Spotify and make a playlist of stuff. And it's like every now and again a project will come along with decent enough budget that you might be able to license actual music. And even if it doesn't, you can listen through that and then try and find something that sounds as similar as possible on a rights-free thing. So I'm always listening and finding and favouriting.
It's a shame in a way, isn't it? Because like, I'm sure all of this free music's good and stuff, but like that was so much it when I was young. Like Sprung Video Magazine, like
dude,
and Earth and stuff. It almost like imagine having a section riding trails with ODB. There we go. That's a good question. Who are your influences as a filmmaker, not as a rider, growing up?
Growing up, it was exactly that. It was basically Rankin. Who else was there?
Yeah,
he was the man behind all Sprung, Earth, everything. Mono, who I grew up with, made some amazing early DVDs.
Didn't he? What were his ones called?
All Foot Out, Flat Out.
Flat Out, yeah.
That's right, yeah.
So yeah,
and he was obviously with just a gamble with Bowman.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I remember them sending the Spotify playlist to like some of our friends and being like, "Oh, listen through this and let us know which ones you sort of like." And I think they hit the jackpot with a few of those. I think like getting Arctic Monkeys was massive.
Yeah, huge.
Yeah, it's PT's section, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was it PT's?
Yeah.
It's PT's section. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and then
it annoys me. You remember that? It fucking annoys me because that's gone now. Now you could have a killer section. You'd be like, you don't have that. Like,
I feel like some of them really do stick though, dude. And it's the same with Death Grip and yours with Eric B and Rakim. It just when those things come together perfectly, they really do.
Yeah.
Like it's like a moment in time of like fuck, like that really works.
But dude, do you know how hyped I'd be? Me and Jacob just been filming a Goodyear ad. Do you know how hyped I'd be if I got even remote, like the tiniest bit of input on what music, like an actual music, not as in free music. It'd make me so much more hyped.
Yeah,
and like really, excited about it all. And like, I guess it's a little bit polarizing with like a lot of this music that on the free sites is almost kind of quite vanilla, isn't it? It's quite like non-offensive. I feel like it's like background music, lift music or something.
Yeah, but then with music, everybody has such different tastes with music. You're always going to alienate some of the audience.
Yeah.
If you make something that everybody likes, you've probably just played it way too safe. But back in the day, one of my favorite films was New World Disorder 5, the one where they're all in orange prison jumpsuits and stuff. The soundtrack to that video is still insane. So many, it's just wall to wall bangers.
Is there a track that you've tried to get for something that you haven't managed to land because it's been obscenely too expensive, or
not really?
Or
no,
they've just not got back to you or anything like that? Because it's an interesting world, that, isn't it? Trying to land.
Yeah, working with music licensing companies and agents and record labels and stuff now, it's kind of, you can send them a message and try and make it work, but we don't like start editing to it till we've at least got a ballpark figure that we know is going to be achievable. Otherwise, you just edit a video and have to pull it out. And back in the day, you didn't give a shit and you just used whatever anyway. So, no, not really. It's either been use something you're not allowed and it's been fine, or these days it's either play it safe or you have to do the due diligence and make sure that it's all above board before you can really get told it's not.
The early days of the podcast, I used to play anything at the start. I'd just be like, I'm just going to play some Guns N' Roses this week, and just like start off with Guns N' Roses. And then when the podcast got a little bit, I'd say, bigger, I guess, it started getting copyright strikes quite a lot. And I was like,
so did it get that on the podcast app? Then we can't play any old music.
No, it would be when it was going onto YouTube, it would obviously get copyright stricken. But then recently Facebook started doing podcasts. I don't know if you've seen that, but
have they?
on the Facebook app. So they take the data and they
make sure you like and subscribe to the right. That's right.
Well, you can listen on Facebook now apparently, but it obviously took the whole stream, like the whole feed, uploaded it, and then all of those were just like, all the early ones were just like copyright strike. And I'd sort of forgot that I used to do it. I just used to be like, I used to put it out on Instagram and be like, what do people want? And they'd be like, Guns N' Roses, and I'm like, yeah, cool. Just drop it.
I think there's like a certain amount of something that you can play without getting in trouble, but it's like 10 seconds or something minute.
I think it is 10 or 15 seconds or something. It's not.
Yeah. So there you go.
The first bit of a riff. That's funny.
So that took us through locals 1, 2. Like what? How many locals did you do? 9. No. Last 9. The last 7 were available only in Asda, weren't they?
Yeah, Asda price. They were. I think we did 2 of those, and then we did something called Antidote, which was the first thing that Sega and I worked together on properly, and that was where we were starting to do stuff that was a bit more polished and a bit more professional. That was definitely sponsors involved and that kind of thing. Like we went to Spain and the Alps and whatnot, shooting sections and whatnot, which was really cool. And then from then,
so that's how you started your current business now with your partner Chris Seeger, right?
Yeah. Aspect so current thing is Aspect Media production company, Chris Seeger and me, although on various jobs, there's a whole kind of umbrella of creatives that we work with, from graphics and music and drone and you name it. We still do solo work separately, but any job of any kind of size, we team up and work on them together. And yeah, the first was probably about 2012, shooting nationals and World Cups, because we were both doing team videos for various people and stuff for Vital or Southern Downhill or whatever it was back then. And it just started to get to the point where at about the same time, both of us were taking on projects that were a bit too much to do on your own. And quite often they needed a filmer and a photographer. And so joining forces and combining our skill sets just made sense.
Yeah, sick. So just before you started Aspect Media, you were doing full World Cup seasons, or were you just doing like national seasons? What were you doing race-wise coverage?
Well, I mean, it naturally kind of progressed from originally racing regional stuff in the UK myself to then I never entered a national, I don't think. I just entered and raced regionals and dragons and that kind of thing, and then started going to nationals with a camera, and then it was working with teams that were racing the nationals that then started racing World Cups, and then I did 4 or 5 seasons on the World Cup circuit, and then went and switched to doing enduro, which I have done, I think, up until the start of 2021, I'd only missed 3 EWSs ever. So I've basically done the whole series.
Really cool.
You've documented the not only the whole series, but the whole sport, really, eh? Because enduro is...
I don't know, enduro is a fair bit older than the EWS. If you...
I mean, it's mountain biking, eh?
Well, yeah, essentially it was just all mountain bike races, kind of almost like Trans-Provence and stuff before then.
Yeah, but I guess they were those trans races, yeah.
But no, for as long as the EWS has existed, I've kind of been documenting them and at them. It's cool. So,
hey, do you know what I actually had a again, to someone listening and getting into it, it sort of seems as though it's just the dream. Like you're sort of kind of e-biking around, getting to ride some of the best tracks, and stopping off, taking a few shots as Richie comes through or as Jack comes through, blah, blah, blah. I had a taste of it, right, at Trans Madeira, where I nailed myself before going to Trans Madeira. And I couldn't ride the first 2 days 2 days, I think I couldn't ride. I was not in a good way. I'd hit my head, blah, blah. So Jacob said, why don't you just jump in with us? So I jumped in with your van, and this to me was like the first time I realised what work goes into it.
The media
dude,
van.
it's like being fucking paparazzi. It's insane. You're bombing around all these tight roads. You pull up somewhere, and Jacob's like burst out the side of the van, sprinting up the hill. You got to get the top 5 guys coming through. You get the top 5 guys coming through a section. It's pre-planned. It's not like it's not like fiddling around in the woods. Like, maybe this angle would be good. It's not like that at all. It's like we need to get the top 10,
Yeah.
And then as soon as you get the shots, you're fucking straight back in the van, bombing up the fire road. Maybe you're doing an interview on the way up, over to the next stage. Like it actually blew me away, dude. And anytime you have to ride down the track, so Jacob's got a bike that you have to ride down. He's got like a bag with so much weight in it.
I'm a Ninja Turtle.
These dudes are nothing. I mean, it always looks like such a laugh, but I imagine it's quite gnarly.
An EWS, it's honestly what you've just described, but even more mental. They're such a logistical nightmare to cover, even with like 2 or 3 cameramen. So, and you're bombing around.
And how many is there normally? Because obviously, again, a good friend of mine, Duncan's been doing loads of them over the last few
Mr.
years.
Duncan Philpott, big up.
Yeah, and how many is there normally? So I know Boris does a bunch, Duncan does a bunch.
Yeah.
Big up Boris.
So is there normally 3 or 4 and you split it and you all go in different areas, or are you all traveling together?
Sven will listen to this.
Bit?
Well,
oh yeah, it's Sven.
Yeah.
Sven.
Hi Sven. Sorry, we must mention him.
Should we just take a moment to...
We call him MTV Batman because he just seems to be on everything and he'll call you out on anything. He's both wonderful and awful.
I haven't got shit off him for ages, actually. I'm worried. He must not have Wi-Fi or something.
Or you just
stopped listening to us talk shit.
Yeah. No, well, at the EWS, there's 10, 15 different kind of core media people that are at every race every year, like Boris and Sven and Duncan up until the start of this year, and all the EWS staff, myself included, and they're all working for different media outlets and teams and stuff. So some of them kind of pool their photos and shoot for each other so that they can cover more ground, and others don't. And if you're video, obviously you're going to be no use to the photographers and vice versa. So yeah, there's a whole load of kind of unseen depth to what is going on to cover those things.
Actually, it's probably a good opportunity to mention Nico Turner, because as far as the EWS is concerned, you pump and dump, don't you? You get that footage and you get it over. Is that right?
Yeah.
How does it work?
So there's on the Goodyear advert that we were shooting last week. That's quality, not quantity. You're spending, a lot of time getting one shot. If it takes you riding and pushing up 5 times to get the focus or the riding perfect, that's all part of it. It's lighting stuff. It's fanning around with movies and all the rest of it. Whereas at the EWS, it's more about turnaround time and just getting event coverage that just shows the riding off as quickly as possible. So you're shooting kind of 4K, definitely not. You're shooting 1080. It's lower quality, and it's all just to speed up the process of getting it out the door, which Nico Turner, who's another kind of UK-based filmmaker editor, he has been the staff editor, head chief editor and cameraman, kind of on the side, more editing than filming, that pulls all of those highlights together in record time. And he is...
It is insane, isn't it?
He's an absolute wizard.
And how do you get that stuff to him that fast? Like, how do you do it? Is it all just going to a drive, or how does that work?
I mean, the boring nitty-gritty logistics of it are that there will probably be a runner whose job is to ride up into the forest, meet me at a point where I'm liaising between different stages, like at a fire road junction or something. I then give them the cards from those previous stages. They then have to go back down into the pits and to the press room, give them to Nico, who will card dump, ingest, tag, import. And then by the time he's done all that, the other guy's now ridden up and met me after the next stage, and then I'm giving him more cards. So it's
wow,
logistical nightmare, as you can imagine, but it's a well-oiled machine after doing it for so long.
Hey, I spoke to Thomas Lappery about his sort of EWS career, and he was saying he was riding for a team. He lost the love for racing because he was riding for a team, and they used to make him do. So they were trying to get their team videos out so quick that they'd make him do like interviews, pre-race, but as if it's post-race. So no shit. So he had to be like, yeah, I think I rode really well in the last few stages, and I'm really happy with it. But like, he'd have to just give these like broad statements,
Well,
yeah. So like, if he won the event, it'd be like a video of him going, yeah, I'm pretty happy with how the bike performed. Like, how shit is that?
Yeah, I mean,
imagine being made to do that.
We have before now done different, like, so Rick McLaughlin, the presenter, we'll have done different versions of his, like, so thanks for watching, it was a good race, where Richie took the crown, and if it was between Richie and Jack, we'll do another one where he can say Jack. But that's because logistically we have to do all the links with Rick to camera before the end of the race, because at the end of the race he's in the press room recording voiceover and stuff that you can't do ahead of time, like really in-depth stuff on stage times and stuff. So but anything where there's going to be real excitement or you want a reaction or something, you can't do that. You can't interview someone after the race. You're going to get such a wooden performance. But
dude, imagine it.
It's so good that you can be like the master of your own destiny, and you can just say, "Yep, I won." But
Stoke with the win.
You're sort of manifesting it, aren't you? Really, you're just manifesting the whole thing.
They're just like, "All right, Ollie, yeah, we like the positivity, and we like that you've done the Stoke with the win video. Can we do sort of like a mid-pack video now? Can we do a mid-pack reaction?
Place video."
Yeah, exactly. Can we do a puncture video now? Maybe puncture. What about a huge crash video? Can we do one
the DNQ stuff. Can we do that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You should race an EWS sometime, Ollie. I reckon you'd be woefully too unfit, but I think the skills-wise, you'd be all right. You'd get down the track.
I'd be too unfit? You actually think I'd be too unfit? Yeah.
Massively.
Wow, that's so impressive. Yeah.
This is where
they are mega impressive.
I was going to say, you talk to people like Richie Rude and Jack Moyer and Jesse Melamed, and even they aren't fit enough to win every race. There's people fitter than them. And
I'd love to do one, personally as well. I really would like to go and do one.
I'm reasonably decent on a bike and reasonably fit normally, having some kind of health bits and bobs this year, but normally fairly fit. I could not finish most EWSs. The days are massive.
Yeah, really, yeah.
Like, I'd get down all the tracks absolutely fine. It's just the timed liaisons to get back to the top are fairly tight. You've got to push to do them. That's the main difference between the main pro race and the 50 and 100 that they've started doing, is that in the pro race, the uphills, you've got quite a tight window of time to get back to the top. And in the others, you don't.
Yeah, and there's a time penalty if you don't make it, isn't there?
Yeah. Really, the time penalty's like, it's not a second or two, you're talking tens of seconds. So it's like, if you miss it, your kind of day could be over. So, yeah, you see some people properly blowing at the top. Yeah,
Joe was telling me about that. Like, you take your your cheek guards out on some full face helmets, and he's got to the top before, and they're calling his number, so he's literally had to just drop in with his cheek pads tucked behind his goggles. Yeah, and his goggles aren't even on his face, and all that sort of shit. I heard as well, Jack Moyer's trainer is Fabian Burrell, or something, maybe just coach.
He's the coach, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. That's tough. But he has to upload everything he does. So there's no escaping. Like, that sounds hellish, dude. Yeah. That kind of training where you just, it's just numbers. You're just sending out numbers.
No days off.
This is what I've done today.
After the Scottish EWS season ended, just gone, I did a big kind of hour or so long in-depth interview with Jack for Canyon, and super interesting chatting to him and getting some proper in-depth stuff. But he's going, I think, next year 100% EWS again. If it starts, I think with him, because he dabbles in both downhill and EWS, if his season's going well at one, he'll stick to that. And if he crashes out at an EWS and has no chance of the overall, then he'll dabble in both. But he says to be top of the game at one of them, it's 100% focus the whole time.
So it'd be fascinating to speak to someone, one of these characters who've done both, to compare kind of training and stuff, because I guess the EWS is a lot of bike time, and I wonder about riding wise. You'll be able to say, but when I see people ride an EWS stage, it's not, the stage is so gnarly, and there's just this sort of, a lot of them are so long, and there's this kind of consistent 80% feel about how people. That's realistically way off. It's not 80%, but reining it in and trying to be smooth and carry speed over a downhill run that just looks out and out like.
Yeah. I mean, there's certain racers that are really fast and will take stage wins, but they are terrible at managing a bike through a race. And so they quite often crash or have mechanicals. And yeah, sure, you're not pushing as 100% as you would maybe at a downhill World Cup, but you're going 98% these days. The boys have to push fairly hard at the sharp end. They're not chilling anymore. So it's pretty wild. And to do that over, some of the runs are 10 kilometers long. You're talking 20 minutes in one run at full tilt. That's absolutely mind blowing.
With little punchy climbs. And, actually, a lot of the tracks look as a World Cup downhill track is gnarly, yes, but it's gnarly at the pace they're going at it.
Yeah.
Whereas actually a lot of the EWS tracks, I don't know, you probably know more than me, but actually some of the tracks look gnarly. Like they look difficult to ride.
Some of them are absolutely heinous. Yeah, they're super gnarly and technical. And because a lot of them are more footpath kind of, they're quite often in the Alps, they're adapted footpaths. And so they're just gnarly at any speed. The faster you go, the more death they get. But trying to ride them slowly is equally horrible, especially on a borrowed rental bike with a massive camera bag doing 1 mile an hour.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that must be gnarly. Is there a point, Jacob, just to go back a tiny bit, when did this become a job for you? Like, what was that initial point where you went, okay, there's a career here? And did you have a job before doing this?
I mean, I, like most people, paper around working in some kitchens, washing pots, did a short stint in co-op on the tills, but all of that's at the age of like 16, 17, and from 17 onwards, no, it's just been this. It was a case of just slowly getting more and more work come in. Initially, it was just getting 50 quid here to go and get some shots of our elite riders after I'd finished my race run at a Southwest Regional. And then you think, well, if they're going to pay me 50 quid to do that, I only need to do, 2 or 3 of these a month, and I'm getting the same as I am washing pots. And then, that just naturally snowballs and grows. And you end up then, I think, at the age of 17, got my first proper commercial day shoot for Asterix or Bergamont bikes way back when. Right. And I mean, at the age of that, when you're getting 200 quid or whatever it would have been to go and shoot photos for a day, which I would have done for free because it's what I love to do, you start to question whether or not this is something you should probably do more of. Yeah,
but obviously all that takes investment as well, because the more advanced you get, the more advanced your equipment has to get.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's like running any business, I guess, right? You're just constantly updating your equipment.
Yeah, massively. Well, lenses tend to last a good amount of time, but camera bodies and that kind of stuff last 3-4 years before they need replacing. And obviously, at the very start, where you don't have any kit, every bit of money that you earn is just getting ploughed straight back into buying more kit to enable you to up your game or try new things, which is a thing which is infinitely easier if you, like me, were still living at home without any kind of real outgoings. That if you're trying to do that at the same time as having a house or kids or whatever, or a proper job that needs to be matched money before you can switch, just gets a whole lot more complicated. So
here's a good question, right? How long in the trenches before you feel like you were worth money? Do you know what I mean? So, how long before you felt like, yeah, actually you should pay me to take these photos and I should be paid for this video?
2 or 3 years of doing it fairly regularly. The first couple of years, it's just total imposter syndrome. You have to get paid because you know that that's the only way to make it sustainable, and not to undercut people who are already established. But you also just feel like a total imposter taking people's money, or like, surely the work I'm doing isn't good enough to actually get paid for. But then, clients are always happy. You get asked back to do more work. You look at the work and you're happy. So you do get over it
on a billboard or on an ad.
Yeah, it takes time, but it's still there to some degree. Obviously, if massive, like Disney wanted me to do a massive global ad campaign or something, I'd be massive imposter syndrome quoting for it. I'd do it, and you'd go and do the work, and I'm sure if you put the work in and planned it all, you'd do a good job. But yeah, for sure.
We transfer the file over like...
Yeah.
It is an interesting thing, that whole like imposter syndrome, though, isn't it? I think especially when it's such a sort of like a hobby as well. You almost feel I've done this. You feel bad when you're invoicing companies and you're just like, as if I'm doing this. But it is, like you say, there's still mortgages to pay. There's still things that need to be done.
Yeah. You must have had it riding as well, Ol. You must have been on shoots back in the day and thought, why the hell am I the guy here?
Mate, still, the whole time. The whole fucking time. Because you're just like, ultimately, I guess probably a big part of why I'm actually marketable is actually because I really, really do love doing it. I really do enjoy it. So then naturally, if you really enjoy doing it, you're like, come on, you can't be like, what, you want to film me doing it again, yeah? Because that was super fun. Like, hitting that turn was super fun. Do you want, like, especially when you're like, spray me in the face with mud. Like, that to me is like, dude, I would actually, I tell you what, I'd pay. I'd probably not only do
not doubt it.
If that was a fairground ride and there was just like a perfect turn and then your face behind the perfect turn.
That's the happiest I've seen you in a long time. is old jacked up on ankle injections, smashing me in the face with swamp water.
Mate, life is good. I was saying to Joel, actually, we were shooting with Joel Anderson, who also rides for Goodyear. Yeah. I was like, fuck, dude, this is like, I'm not thinking about my ankle because of these roids. I'm at like this, our listeners have heard me talk about it before, so it's relevant. But like, it is incredible. I can ride without thinking. I can go completely buck nutty and out of control, and it's okay. I can react. I don't have to like think about it. It's so good. So yeah, I'd pay money to put dirt in your face.
Just to go back on that, Ollie, because I think it's super interesting. Like, is there when you mentioned the term imposter syndrome, is there one thing that stands out to you of like, I can't believe I was there doing that?
Oh, dude, the whole fucking time it's all ridiculous because all the, confidence is in my own abilities riding, and then there's an element of bravado with anyone because you got to, haven't you? If you're going to send a massive jump, someone else has done it, so you're going to be like, if he can do it, I can do it, whatever. That's real. But then when it comes to like, dude, anything, I can be in Whistler. A dude in front of me has all the new TLD kit. I'm like, shit, let's let him go first. No shit. I ride for Troy Lee Designs. He's got the new kit, and I'll just be like, oh, this motherfucker is fucking. He means
serious.
it. Yeah, I'm just going to be cruising down doing whips and stuff. I don't want to drop in front of him. It happens all the time. Like, not being a dick, but largely, you drop in behind him and you're like, fucking Jesus, he's slow. But
that's a problem you have, not me.
No, but I think so massively. I reckon it's quite amplified if you're. I know we're talking about you, Jacob, but actually, if it's quite amplified if you're a rider, and people don't think about that. They want to be sponsored, but you want to be sponsored until it comes down to even just doing. I know, like ad campaigns and edits and shit are here today, gone tomorrow. But when you're behind, when you've got a camera pointed at you and doing something over and over again, like fuck, it'd be, if you thought you wanted it and then you get there and you're like, whoa, I feel really bad. I feel real self-conscious. I don't know. I've been doing it for years, but I definitely reckon it's gnarly as a rider for sure.
Yeah,
I think it's important as well to always like break it down to what your job actually is, which is to sell product. Like that's what you're there for, right? Is to show off the product and sell the product, and that is, I think, when you boil it down to that, that's pressure in itself, right? So you're asked to sell product for Troy Lee Designs and Focus and stuff like that, which means that you have got to show up. You have got to be professional. You have got to be marketable.
On that Focus video that you did a while back with Deeks, the like downhill jump track that never ends. Send me a huge backflip for that. Like, I know for a fact that will have just been fairly terrifying and
horrible. Yeah,
like it's a big old jump to flip.
Yeah, really horrible. That's when
with an 8
that's the job.
You.
But then Bren always says this. Bren's really good at this. He says, look, if it's fun 50% of the time, then you're doing, like I would say it's fun 90% of the time for me personally. So I'm lucky. I've worked it out in that respect. But he says if it's fun 50% of the time, then you're doing better than if you were, another version. If there was another version of myself in a job that I was unhappy in, like. I'm still doing better. I think the fine line, I think, is that where it involves biking, you run the risk of ruining it. I don't know if you've ever found that filming. Like, do you sometimes wish, I don't know, go and do a wedding or something where it's just money? You don't even mix riding.
Well,
I don't get that from you, but
there's certain jobs which you do because they pay well or whatever, but generally I try to do jobs that I not only want to do but also pay. And sometimes I shoot weddings, and sometimes it's commercial stuff or corporate headshots or whatever. And I really enjoy the fact that I do get to do a bit of everything, but mostly cycling. If you just shot all the same thing, no matter what it is, as a creative, that's going to get slightly boring. It's all about trying new stuff and pushing yourself creatively and learning new stuff all the time. So do a bit of everything. Super fortunate that most of the time it's biking, but
I've got a good question. I didn't write it down, but it would have been one that I'd write down. If you could tell a young Jacob Gibbins, a young basement, like the basement, what's it finger, kind of just like on the dark web, doing creepy shit in the basement. If you could tell him, if you could give him some advice, what would it be in regards to your career as a media mogul?
Well, definitely going to contest media mogul, maybe in another 10 years. But advice, God, who knows?
Did you do anything super dumb or bad, or did you do work for Keyrings, or is there anything that you think like a young video maker should do, or is there anything you wish you'd done more of, like your self-initiated projects and shit like that?
No, it's so hard. It's that thing of having regrets. If something's taken you to where you are right now and made you the person you are, would you change it? And I'm super content and fortunate and lucky with where I am in life and career and everything. So, I mean, the advice would just be keep doing you, and whatever it'll work out. But
oi, little Jacob, keep doing you, dude. You're gonna fucking kill it anyway. Just keep doing you.
I've got no ideas of grandeur. I don't ever want to be a millionaire or whatever. I don't dream of having super fancy cars or a mansion or anything. I just want to be comfortable and love what I do more than be super rich doing something I hate. So I've kind of reached that goal already. So just keep doing what I'm doing, enjoying it, learning. I guess the advice would just be to trust yourself, trust your instincts.
Hell yeah.
They're kind of guide most people.
And what about we get this quite a lot, young people trying to get into the bike industry, trying to get into filmmaking or photography or something. Is there any standout advice that you'd give to a young person?
Well, yeah, advice to other people, advice to younger me is kind of quite difficult. But advice for other people would be, I get asked it fairly regularly, and it's always just a case of you've got to shoot a lot. You have to get out there and do it all the time for no ideas of getting paid for it. You just got to love doing it to the point where you'll be out every weekend, every waking moment, just doing it for the love of it, and then be really self-critical over what you are shooting and only share the very best of it, but do find and look for kind of mentors or people who can critique it and take that on board and learn and kind of keep pushing. And the mountain bike world, media-wise, is massively competitive, and it's got a whole load worse while I've been doing it, and I can't see it slowing down. So you've just got to want it more than the 20 people that are in line behind you. And if you're willing to do it...
Why do you think it is? Why do you think do you think it's just the sport growing? Has it become more accessible for people to do it?
I think the sport's grown massively, which is more people involved in it. And then obviously cameras have become so much more kind of commonplace. Everybody's phone now has a camera. Everybody's digital camera that cost 200 quid is now capable of properly professional level results. Editing software has got way easier and all the rest of it. So I think the bar for entry has got so much lower that more people do it. And then I think once you do it a bit, you realise that it's great fun and a great way to earn a living if you can. And so, I mean, like Ollie said at the start, travelling around and for the most part, just loving your life and taking pictures of bikes and stuff is a great way to make a living by my standards. I mean, everybody's different, but I'm sure there's lots of other people out there that if you're into mountain biking and can't make a go of working in the industry or being a professional rider, kind of transitioning onto the media side of it is one of the avenues that you've got at your disposal. So,
yeah, and something else I really wanted to ask you, I want to know, is there an absolute horror story from your job? Like, have you lost some files, or because that Enduro series, there's a lot of variables involved in that, from people moving stuff around.
Yeah, I mean,
sending files. Like, what's the horror story, dude? What's the worst experience
with the EWS? Touch wood. There's so many people on the team, and you are, rather than just doing a whole day's filming on one card, and if something goes wrong with that one card, you're buggered. You're doing every stage a different memory card. There's 3 people filming. So if one card gets corrupted or deleted or whatever, it's not mission critical. And because there's so many people, the points of checking everything, generally, stuff's okay. And over the years, we've put all kind of systems and stuff in place to stop stuff like that happening. So on the EWS is amazingly no real horror stories. My career away from the EWS, there has been quite a few over the years, but you learn from each of them. The second ever commercial job I did, so I'm like 17 or 18 at this point, and I had got the train from Devon to North Wales to do a shoot. Shot all day, got loads of really good stuff, really stoked with it. Got back on the train and was looking through the camera, like looking at all the photos. Still to this day, not exactly sure how it happened, but deleted everything. Terrifying.
Really?
Utterly terrifying. And at that point, I didn't have a phone that could use the internet or anything, and I didn't have my laptop with me, so I just sat on a train in like pure panic mode in silence for like 6 hours or something. Like the worst. And then the next day got one of those memory card recovery software programs and just prayed to God that stuff was on there, and everything was on there bar I think 2.
No way.
2 photos out of like 1,000 were corrupted, and apart from that everything got recovered. And luckily I didn't freak out and call the client on the train and admit what had happened. I was like, let's play it cool, wait until tomorrow when hopefully I can recover it. And then, Christ, there's been like crashed into at races and your camera breaking and you're not having a spare, or going out and being caught in a thunderstorm and your camera dying, or you being freezing or whatever. There's crashing your bike and hurting yourself halfway through a shoot, or there's a million things that happen pretty regularly, but you tend to, like I say, learn from the mistakes and always carry a coat, always carry a rain cover, always be really anal about literally finish a shoot, camera off, triple check it's off, put it in a bag.
Hold on.
What have you got a story about?
Hold on. We just did a shoot and you took my jacket that was meant to keep me warm and me dry, and you put it over your camera, and it got wet, and I couldn't wear it.
Every day's a school day.
Do you know, you talk about it makes me laugh. Your boy Mono, I shot with Mono years ago for an ad for someone. I can't remember who. It was in Peaslake anyway, and we shot like a whole. I can't remember. We shot.
I know this story. Carry on.
Yeah, it's so good. We shot a whole 2 days. I think it was 2 days. Maybe it was. I think it was 2 days, dude. Yeah. Right? We shot for, and like every time he'd show me the clips on the back of the camera, like he'd be getting bangers, he'd be hyped, he'd be like, "Oh, check this out, check this out." I'd watch the screen, I'd be like, "Motherfucker, looks a bit green," but I didn't say anything, because I stay in my lane, dude. I ride, he films, Anyway, we get to the end of like day 2, and he's like, "Dude, does all this look a bit? Does it look all right to you?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know. It's just the screen, I don't know whether it's the actual footage, but it looks a little bit green, So it's RGB or whatever, isn't it? Or whatever.
Red, green, blue, yeah.
Red, green. If you don't have green if you don't have one of them red, for instance, plugged in, then you have a really it'll record a shit image or whatever.
Well, yeah, you're essentially recording RGB on each. It gets super nerdy, but on each photo site sends like pixel. It's all three of them, and on that camera, the red and the blue were broken, so he was only recording green information.
And exactly. And I was like, it looks a bit green. He's like, dude, I'm colourblind. Like, fuck's sake. So we had to go back. It was good though in a way, because we had like a streamlined experience of the first 2 days, because we were just like, go back to this turn, you don't need to bother with that turn, it was shit or whatever. So but I thought that was funny. It all worked out in the end anyway. Yeah, no, I completely reshooting stuff is almost in my shoes the absolute worst case nightmare scenario. And I've done it once or twice where, you know, something's screwed up in either the filming or the editing process or whatever, but it's you just got to deal with it and take it on the chin and, you know, refund the client for the day or whatever and go and do the next day completely free of charge, which as a creative sucks dipping into your own pocket, but as running a business it's the only way to really do it. If you've made the mistake, you put it right.
Yeah. I don't think we've ever re-recorded one of these, have we?
Fucking imagine, dude. How would you go back through all the shit? I don't even know what we've talked about here.
Who knows?
True. Yeah, I've done it. I have had to do it a few times.
Have you pressed record, by the way?
Why were we? Do you want to record now?
Do these get edited down at all? Like, do you cut out certain questions, or is everything in start to finish?
Mate, we just roll deep. We go in raw.
Wow, that's brave. It is with me on board.
I know, right?
Well,
social hand grenade. He's just ticking away. I'm waiting for it.
I'm on my best behaviour. Like we said at the start, me and you left to our own devices.
It would be a different podcast, wouldn't it?
It would probably be very different.
Am I holding court here?
It's more the viewers out there on the internet than you, Davey. I'm sure you're one of the boys.
Yeah, exactly,
Manscaped. Davey, dude,
I
saw your junk the other day. It's a bit of a personal question. I don't know is it cool if I ask you a personal question?
Yeah, but I'm already thinking, dude, I should stop sending you those photos.
Yeah, but anyway, the photos are good and keep them coming, all right? But what I wanted to ask specifically, how do you keep your junk looking so good?
Okay, it's a great question, dude, and one that I get often, especially when I slide photos of the junk out to people. I should really stop doing that, but
maybe a bit less. Yeah,
weird 50%. Fetish thing that I've got. And obviously, I used to go with the lighter fluid and a lighter to get rid of all the hair down there, but it did used to look a bit of a mess. And honestly, dude, I don't blame females for not wanting to go anywhere near me because it was a mess and it used to smell like lighter fluid.
So what have you done? What have you changed?
Dude, easy. Quick switch over to Manscaped. That way, there's no fire involved. There's no dangerous activity. We've actually managed to get rid of the fire blanket and the fire extinguisher out of the bathroom, which is nice.
Cause, surely you still have you worry about electricity and water mixing together or not?
No, dude. Manscaped's awesome. It's fully sort of waterproof, so you can use it in the shower. You can use it out in the rain if you want to. If you can go for a walk with it. Yeah.
What sort of RPM does that thing kick out?
Dude, great question. 7,000 RPM motor.
Wow, so that really gets through the thick of it.
Yeah, it'll. You could probably mow your lawn with it, dude. To be honest with you, and I have seen some people manscaping the lawn.
Isn't it? Yeah, it's called And then one last question, dude. And this is not one that I get through the pictures you send me. Why does it smell so good?
It's a great question, dude. Again, obviously, used to be a big fan of Lynx Africa, but I'm a little bit, I've got bookshelves now and stuff, so I want to have like a nice cologne.
Yeah.
You know absolutely. What I mean? I want to
I want to be. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, I want to be radiating success. And I recently made a switch to this. It's called Refined by Manscaped. Wow. It comes in this amazing little presentation box too. You open that and there's your Refined cologne. It's in there.
Wow.
Like, sitting pretty.
Okay, last question. It's not a personal one, but how can I get on board with this?
Dude, super easy, man. Go on the internet.
Yeah.
You got that, haven't you?
I've got that, yeah.
Yeah. Got that. Manscaped.com.
Yeah.
You don't have to put all the other stuff in. There's like HTT. manscaped.com.
Yeah.
Look through some of the stuff, dude. They've got the Lawnmower 4.0, obviously. We've spoke about it before, but it is the ultimate male grooming tool.
Yeah.
Enter the code RIDECOMPANION20.
Okay.
What was it?
Ride Companion 20?
RIDECOMPANION20. And that will knock 20% off anything on the website. And free shipping.
Oh, right. Dude, I've got to get off the phone. I'm making an order.
No worries.
Catch
Get
you
on there. Before we do that,
manscaped.com.
I also wanted to say, dude, my nasal passage, very clear breather. Listen to this.
Yeah.
No hairs.
Because surely the
hairs.
lawnmower won't fit up there.
No hairs. And also the ears, I can hear everything. I can hear, if you whispered over a field, I can hear it. It's like,
wow, yeah.
And that's
How'd you
because
do
of
that?
this. Weed Whacker.
And that's
Electric
available on the
nose.
same site.
Yeah. And you know what, dude? Let's give this one away as well. Shall we give it away?
Well, we can. It's up to you.
It's not used. It's brand new. It's sealed and everything.
Okay, that makes more sense then. Yeah, okay.
So we'll give this one away. All you have to do to win this Manscaped Weed Whacker is share this episode on social media. Instagram stories, great. An actual social media tile with a bit of a podcast, maybe a photo, screenshot.
Someone
gonna,
with a thick bush.
That's double points. You're probably going to
yeah.
win a little bit better if you do that. Just tag Olly at @OW_23, tag at the Hook It Podcast, and tag Manscaped too. Let's show them some love, dude. Because these guys are out there making seamless and hair-free. So
just better, isn't it?
Better, yeah. And that's it, folks. Ride Companion 20, manscaped.com. Let's get back into this episode, because no doubt you want to. Oh, dear. I mean, one thing I wanted to talk about was Rampage real quick. Obviously, we've got Rampage coming up on Friday.
Have you been to Rampage, Jacob?
I have not. It is one of the few big global events that I've not had a chance to get to, and I really want to. It'll happen at some point if it's meant to, I'm sure.
Yeah, there we go. I've followed some of the build-up. Do you know what I haven't seen is any, I guess, Deaconator vlogs. But that's because, like any kind of behind no, there's just the Red Bull bike dig stuff. But
Kyle Straight's doing one behind the scenes.
Is he? What
a video
YouTube series?
Yeah. Kyle Straight's doing one. That's pretty good. I watched that this morning. I think I don't know what he's called it.
I'm not watching that. What else is there? Who else is doing one?
Yeah, it's great.
Anyway,
it's good, I'm sure.
I haven't seen anything else, dude. Red Bull Bike are posting a little bit of stuff, but I agree with you. It's kind of all quite secretive by the looks of things. I don't know why that might be.
I haven't seen much coming out. I've seen a bit of Brage's stuff on social media of him testing bits and bobs and looking like an absolute wild man as ever. So
I know I should be the person who knows the answer to this, because I've been there, but is the site is the Green Goblin site, isn't it? Which is the one where the
one that they used 4 years ago.
Yeah, I'm just fairly sure it's the one. It's the one with the Green Goblin in, but I don't know if they're still calling it the Green Goblin.
I thought it was a completely new site from what they said originally, and from the press release saying all new. But then I was watching something.
It was going to be until the last minute. Yeah.
Oh, there you go then. And then someone was saying that they've done a run here before and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
So, I
Do you know,
I don't think it's the same as 2019, but it is one that they've used.
Do you know the standout ones I'm most excited about are Brage, like you said, and Jackson Riddle.
Yeah.
I'm well excited to see him.
Watching him ride at Darkfest in whatever 2019 was unreal. He somehow just finds a whole new level of amplitude on everything. He was just going way bigger than everyone else. It was just so sick.
He's got a lot of bike control, and it's like in his back garden, isn't it? So it's like,
a lot of those young up and comers are spending a lot of time out there free riding. Like Ethan Nell's out there quite a bit as well, right?
Yeah, he lives there.
A bunch of those dudes are out there all the time. So I'm excited for that. I'm stoked to see, obviously, Brage. I'm rooting for Brage, big time. Really am. I think because we've had him on here and, he's just a nice guy.
Yeah, he's a man. Isn't he?
I'm just hyped for that. I'm excited for Laconda guy as well.
Yeah,
I think he's gone. After 2019, he crashed twice.
I think he had a good line there. I can't remember.
Yes.
I feel like he had a really good... I think he did well on that hill.
He did that.
Did he win on that hill? I think he won on that hill. I could be wrong anyway.
Who knows? I mean, he is arguably one of the sickest bike riders on the planet. Just has been for so long. Everything he does looks so crazy good. So,
yeah.
And one thing I did notice, which I made a bit of a note of to ask you if this was even a thing, and it might not be, Seminuk's doing bar spins, and I thought, interesting.
Yeah.
And then I thought, he's not riding Triple Crown forks, he's riding Single Crown forks. That's relatively new thing to do, right?
No, people
that?
have done it, but what it normally means is that you have a more limited, in past anyway, people have done it. Who used to do it? Who used to? Anyway, people have done it before and done bar spins. Okay. But I think it tends to mean that you have a more chilled run. You don't necessarily have stuff. But whereas maybe bike technology these days, maybe it's allowed for it.
You can get 180, 90 mil single crown forks nowadays, whatever they are, the RockShox Zebs or something. So I'm guessing you'll be able to build a bike burly enough now with single crowns.
Yeah, and even some of those Fest bikes are 180 mil dual crown forks, aren't they? So it's like, so
I just noticed it and it just looked different, and I thought, I'll look at last year's run, 2019, and he was on like a full downhill bike, Triple Crown forks.
It is interesting, isn't it? I don't know whether
interesting thing.
In terms of like, because it is a judged event. It is a judged event.
How much does it add?
But like, yeah, exactly. But whether like a single crown fork, kind of, if it's a judged event, whether a single crown fork gives the impression that the line isn't as gnarly. Like it's such as a judged event, it's like the most complicated one. Like the judges have to walk around and check everyone's runs because there's no way of knowing from the live feed how gnarly a run is, really, unless you're stood there looking at it,
Yeah.
It's quite nuanced judging, I feel. It's quite difficult to...
Who are the judges? Do they change year by year, or...?
Yeah, there's...
I think Nico Vink's a judge this year, I think.
Yeah.
Anytime Nico's deciding your fate's probably fairly good. He's a safe pair of hands. He knows the real deal.
Man, his run... Dude, it might have even been at this site. His run at this site. No, it wasn't. He
just rode off that mass. Like his was just like he rode down a cliff.
It's shocking. It was so shocking. You saw the sequence shot of him blowing up and stuff. Oh man, what a beast! He'd never ridden it and then just dropped in on his quali run or something. I think. Ugh.
It is hard to gauge like how steep that is.
Yeah.
It's I guess for anyone who's not been there, I haven't been there. Olly, you've been there a lot, but like. It's hard to gauge. And Red Bull Bike put up a thing on their Instagram stories where the presenter was sort of on a rope trying to explain how steep this was. And you were just like, there's no fucking way. She's like, I can't even walk down this. Like, I can't even get near walking down it. It's gnarly. Like, I'm looking forward to it.
Finals is Friday or on the weekend?
Friday.
Yeah,
Sick.
Friday, 6 p.m. UK time.
I'll be somewhere, but I'll try and find time to make it happen.
There's a MB Cyclery are watching it live in store, and I think me, Deeks, and Bren are doing a TED talk up on stage.
Really?
Yeah, I called it a TED talk. It's not a like what the fuck are we going to talk about? But it made me. I thought it was kind of cool.
That'll be fun.
Yeah,
good on you, man. That'll be sick.
Should be cool. Yeah,
really cool.
Yeah.
Shame it's so far away.
Weird not being there, man, because they had their like mandatory rest day. They had like a rain day. And like
rain as well,
those things are like, you're so ready for a rain day. When you're out there, it's just so shit out there. And then as soon as there's a rain day, you're just like, oh, yes. And just like, dude, we're not do nothing bitches. We do stuff all the time. Like realistically, probably the entire roster of people have ADHD. So, and then it comes to a rain day and you're just like, let's just sit in a coffee shop, man. Let's lie down in the hotel, go on our phones. You're like just so desperate to just not be. Yeah, it's hard work.
Digging.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but they're over the hump now. They're past halfway, aren't they? So
they've been riding a little bit. I saw
T-Max hit some stuff. Like T-Max, mega impressive, and he's coming back from a huge injury, and he's the man. So he's on my list of people I'd love to see kill it as well.
So who do you think is going to win if you've got to say one guy? Who's your win? Olly.
So
and then Jacob.
Oh, dude. So if you're talking like Ethan's kind of due win, I just feel like if you live there, and that's what you ride, and that is your identity. It's like Ethan's got to win one day, and I really love Ethan, so he's a good dude. But then there's Jackson, the young gun, who could come in storming in Rookie of the Year, I can imagine. But then the same goes for Brage. Like, he's built for it, isn't he? Dude, I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. And you can't bet against Semenuk. Like, it's pointless me saying this because I just end up going through every single rider, you know? I'm such a fan of each of them in their own different ways. You know, it's sick that Tommy G's back out there, and I think he had a line on that hill. I mean, it's a bit shit because they're coming back to a place that's had 2 years of work on it. So, you know, that's actually a third year on that site, which doesn't always happen.
So it's not, you don't think it's the site from 19?
I think it is, but they've already done 2 years on that site. That's what I mean. If it's 19, then it's 18, 19. You know what I mean?
Right. So this is the same spot you think as Bren's Canyon Gap is?
This spot has been used twice before because they tend to do 2 years move on.
So they were going to move, but they didn't move.
This is one of Bren's many canyon gaps, yeah. But this site is a canyon gap that failed, and it was really shit. It was the one where Bren bucked over the bars, smashed both his thumbs.
Yeah,
it's that site.
Right. Okay. All right.
And it's the site where Sam didn't ride. Do you remember? Anyway, blah blah. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, Jacob, please.
No.
I was just going to say you can't. And I'm going to go out on a limb and just say if Semenuk's riding and he's on form, if you're in a competition and it's biking and Semenuk's in there, I think everybody's not just battling for second onwards, aren't they?
Do you know what I love the idea of? Right, Semenuk with his single crown forks on the live feed. You can hear it past the helicopters. CSU creaking.
Sat on a roller, just about to drop in.
That would make me laugh so much. That would humanise the robot that is Brandon Semenuk. What about you, Davey? Who's your pick?
Mate, I really want Brage to win it. I really do.
Yeah,
I think, like you said, I think it's just after the X Games stuff, and I feel like it feels like it's the people's champion out there, and a lot of people are rooting for him.
I'd love it. Do you know, it takes time to work that place out and that event, I reckon. And honestly, we're a bunch of idiots, yes, but it probably took us 5 years before we're actually like... That's the only thing that I think plays against him. Like, experience really pays off, and you can see it in like Zinc and all of these, and Andreo and all of these guys who've done it for years. You can really see how experience pays off. It's stupid little things just in digging and in how you prepare a line that...
But then as Bren has proved, is being like Brage is more of a downhill kind of style rider. Sure, he's got some insane tricks, but nowhere near as much as the slopestyle guys. Is being just rowdy downhill line enough to win? Or is that...
I don't know. I love the idea that it is, because it's Rampage, and it's like out of all the places you can have a judged event, it's the only one that you can think that just bombing down a free ride line that it could pay off. You know, it doesn't work anywhere else. Like, yeah, who knows, dude? I'd love Brage too as well.
This is why I guess they live stream it so that we can all tune in and find out.
See, Jackson's a rookie, but he lives there, so he already knows. Yeah, it's so fucking... I guess Brage's been out there for a little while, but it really takes a while to get to know the dirt and like how to like move that shit and what projects to take on. You know, little things like that. Like just getting a line finished is like one thing.
Is there much wasted time when you're digging? Have you dug stuff and just looked at it and gone, not going to work, move on to something new?
Not often like that, but there's a lot of wasted time like digging out run-outs to a landing where you're just digging out tons and tons of material. It doesn't show up on a minute-long run, but you can spend a whole day. Like Bren's backflip canyon, we dug into the hill there, tons and tons of dirt. You don't even see it. All you see is the backflip, and then he rolls out and carries on. But we spent we must have spent fucking an entire 2 days just carving out of the hill, and it's just rock, chuck down there.
So I wonder if the COVID thing sort of prevented them being more content. Wonder if there's like a limit on how many people each athlete can have out there and stuff like that.
Tell you what, masks aren't a bad idea out there anyway. The bogies, dude. The bogies are insane. I reckon I've got Rampage dust up to about my nipples, and I don't reckon I'm.
It's still coming out now,
capacity.
2 years later.
Yeah.
Especially with those nostrils.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a couple of intakes.
Firing about like snowballs.
They are insane. Yeah. There you go.
Oh dear.
Excited for Rampage, dude. Excited.
Yeah, really excited. Looking forward to it. Yeah, leave some comments below, people, if you're watching, listening. Let's hear your predictions.
Yeah. Are we doing listener questions today? Because I have a listener. I have a funny thing that I'm going to send you. It's a link. Shall I send it to you now? Would that be useful?
Yeah,
well, I'll send it. You can.
Am I playing it, or are we going to play it and then I'll import it after?
I don't know if you need to play it. I'm gonna send it to you on Instagram.
Oh, okay.
Is that any good?
Instagram then. That's fine, mate. That's absolutely.
What shall I send it to you on? Hook It. Yeah, Hook It Podcast, of course.
Podcast.
So this made me laugh so much. This is a suggestion from DV as to things to talk about, because it obviously pissed him off that much. But it is a.
I got sent this as well.
It is a winch. So it is a winch that if you're struggling with traction, this is the problem.
It's not what I thought it was.
So it is a bar-mounted winch system, like on a 4x4, that winches you out of trouble on your all-terrain mountain bike. And
unbelievable.
Not only, like, I thought this clip itself was funny and it'd be cool for one of your little videos for social or whatever, but also it just brought me on to like bad design ideas and how. Do you know what I've missed?
How much? What's the amount that this company's got to pay you to run that on the front of your bike?
Dude, look how much tooling is involved. It's so they put so much effort in. Like, look at it. It's like plastic molds, a special hook, wire, and then it's a button. So to our listeners, it's a bar-mounted 4x4 winch system in miniature on the bars of a mountain bike. And this this bloke's. The example he's given is his back wheel's just spinning up on this twiglet that's across the trail. And it says, struggling for traction, when you just can't get enough traction, problem solved. And he's strapped his little wire around a tree and he's towed himself out. And it must have cost must have cost 40 grand. If it's not an off-the-shelf mini winch, must have cost at least 40 grand to develop.
Yeah.
I just love those ideas, like the thought of people like, it sounds really bad, but people like remortgaging their houses so that they can kind of come up with this world-changing idea, and it's just that. Like, you see it all the time at Eurobike. It's fascinating. You walk around these halls and there's just like people like, the first chocolate handlebar, or like, they're just these insane suggestions. You see it on QVC as well, don't you?
There was a guy at the bike show a while ago, and I really hope this still isn't a thing, but he developed a machine for bedding brake pads in, and it was basically like a rolling road.
Perfect. I've sent it to you, Jacob.
And I've also just sent you one back, Ollie. I don't know if you've seen that one.
Okay, I'll have a look.
It's a similar vibe, I feel like. In fact, it's almost exactly the same video.
Is it? So, is it from the same guy, maybe?
I don't know. I feel like this might be a...
Oh, this guy's taking a piss. He's got us. He's got us. He's making fun of us. Oh, who's the knob now, eh?
Is that the same person?
It's the same bloke. He's made a little traction thing. Oh, I like that guy. That guy wins. That guy wins. Right. I thought it was real. I thought it was real.
I'm late to the party here. Ollie's just sent me the bar winch.
The winch one.
I mean, the single most pointless thing in the world, isn't it?
Yeah, but he's fooled us. And
I really hope he hasn't remortgaged the house, because he's going to be on the street soon.
Hey, there's some bloke up Fort William Way that always talks to me about sealed drivetrains. He's obsessed with it, and you can tell he's like remortgaged probably multiple properties about how every bike should have a sealed drivetrain. And he like rants on at you about it. If you give him a moment, he takes a bit of your time up. He doesn't care. He wants to talk to you about sealed drives on mountain bikes and how much you can increase chain wear. And I'm like, dude, you might be right, but I don't care, and the world doesn't care. Like, you can't ask people
That's
to
the ending to all arguments.
It's so hard.
I don't care, and the world doesn't care.
It's not that hard to do.
But like, if you just harness that, if you could harness that passion and put it towards even the bloke who made that winch, like that's a lot of design and engineering expertise. Like, just harness that and put it into something that people actually be able to see from other people.
I'm sure handlebar winch mountain bike guy's a top bloke, but just it's just.
So have I got this right? So if you're stuck on your bike, you must get off the bike, walk
to a nearest tree. Well, you could have just walked with the bike, and then you'd not need the winch.
Walk back, get the bike.
Yeah, but he's got us there. He's making fun of us. Yeah, he's fooled us.
Maybe
I think we were fooled really easy.
Actually, just some kind. Maybe he's like that Jonathan Pie guy. Maybe he doesn't really care about the winch, but he's a comedian.
Yeah, I think he is.
Must be.
I think he's got us, dude. Yeah. The other one that Davey sent was like a little traction pad that you put under your back wheel, like you do in 4x4, like 4x4 stuff, like Dakar and stuff. And it's the 3D printed like traction pad.
Yeah, I think
in case you lose traction.
If bikes weighed the same as cars, that'd be great.
Yeah.
But
there you go, e-bikes.
There you go. Ollie, have you got a quick watching and listening for us?
Oh, you know I don't, and you've asked me anyway.
That's me. Throwing you under the bus.
Actually, I do. There's a thing on Netflix. It's like something about sports going wrong. See, this is what you get. Now you throw me under the bus. Now you've got to listen to me blab on. Netflix sports, like crime series or something. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
It's not that. It's not that previous.
Have you seen it?
Series that. Well, it's many episodes. It's called Bad Sport. Okay, on Netflix. I've only watched one episode. It was the college match fixing episode, but it's good. It's got loads of different ones. There's a football one, car racing one, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to carry on watching that. That's my watching suggestion. Over to you.
Okay. Me? I've got a good one, actually, I think.
Go on.
This might already be a thing that loads of people have seen, and I've just not discovered it. You heard of the rapper Little Dicky?
I haven't, but...
No.
You've not heard of Little Dicky?
No, amazingly not.
He's a...
We sometimes call
Little Dicky's a white... Little Dicky is a white English a white Jewish rapper, and he's really big in America, and he does raps about his Little Dicky. And he's got a show on BBC iPlayer called Dave.
They thought they'd get him on, didn't they? Yeah, they're like, let's get Little Dicky on.
You must have heard of him. You're into rap, and you're down with the kids.
Not comedy, comic rap. As much.
It's more comic rap, yeah. So he's got a series on...
Where he raps about his dick.
It's all about him becoming a rapper, and it's actually really funny.
Is it? Yeah. Oh, wicked.
Yeah, honestly, it's worth watching.
There you go.
Promise to you people out there, I'd never disappoint. Little Dicky.
All right, nice. Jacob, I'm interested. What do you watch, dude? What the fuck? What the fuck do you watch?
Honestly, nothing that exciting. I tend to either just be doing something work-related or outdoors on a bike or
Fake Taxi, do you watch that very often?
Or eating. TV, not that often. Although, I did recently watch the new Schumacher documentary on Netflix, which is incredible.
Good on you. It is, yeah.
Good.
There was another, it made me think of it, what you just recommended. I can't remember what the thing is, but it was...
Untold.
Netflix. Weird stuff. The first episode was about the cheese rolling. And then was another episode was a chili eating contest in America. And I can't remember, but there was like 4 or 5, and they're like little half-hour mini documentaries on just weird sporting events. And honestly, the one on cheese rolling is insane. It just makes us English people look like complete psychos.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Hey, it's actually brought me on to a question that I meant to ask you. If there was a spaghetti carbonara eating contest, would you enter it, and would you take training seriously?
Yes and yes.
Thank you. That's all I wanted to know. Thank you very much. Thank you.
My cousin is a little bit silly sometimes when we used to travel together around the world, and he ordered a spaghetti carbonara with no egg once, and basically what he got was a bowl of pasta and water. So the chef must have just been like, this is hilarious, like, no egg.
Dude, be really careful what you say about spaghetti carbonara around Jacob, because honestly, I mentioned something the other day, and he actually nearly hit me. He nearly assaulted me in a supermarket because he takes spaghetti carbonara so seriously.
You said it could have mayonnaise in, and then you started to backpedal and say that it was okay because mayonnaise and carbonara both have egg in.
Yeah, they both do. So, yeah.
It's just...
They're going noise! Oh, it's the best!
All right, let's do
Having
some
a
listener
lovely
questions,
time.
shall we, real
Let's.
quick? Okay, let's see what we've got. At Ryan Hawes 21, how do you guys get enthusiasm to get up and about on cold days? On cold days, apparently, it's tough for this guy, Ryan. He struggles.
Ryan doesn't like the cold.
Can I jump in?
Oh.
Can I jump in? Because,
Mate, please.
honestly, are we allowed? Is this like the BBC? Pair of seal skin thermal gloves. They weren't cheap. They were like 35, 40 quid, which for a pair of gloves is kind of ridiculous. But I've never had cold hands. Like riding in the middle of winter, bombing along on the road bike or something. Totally fine. And they're like quite thin. They've got metal in the fingers, so you can still use phones and stuff. They're the bomb. They just make being in the cold fine.
I use the...
There's no such thing as bad weather, just bad clothing.
Yeah,
I use the Troy Lee design swelters, and they're along the same lines.
There, Ollie. Too close to the mic.
Troy Lee design swelters, that's right. The Troy Lee design swelters, thank you very much.
I tell you what, I actually... I used to work on a building site, and I get up like 6 in the morning, get on site, and the bloke's just got his hands in a bucket of water with ice, like it's just a water butt that we use when you're mixing up. He's just got his hands in the icy water. This is so stupid, I'm repeating it before thinking about it. But anyway, I'd be like, what are you doing, dude? And he's like, just put your hands in here until they go numb. And then the rest of the day they'll feel warm. And so I used to do that. I used to just put it in like cold water. So I think it's almost like contrast. It could always be worse, dude. Like maybe go out just in a t-shirt and...
That guy sounds like you should probably not take his advice.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. But it did work. It did work. And I think you've got to check yourself before you wreck yourself. You know, it's just cold. And biking's good and it's good laugh, isn't it? Even if you do get a bit cold. I limit mine. That's my tip. Just go for an hour and then you can be cold for an hour, can't you?
Yeah, you can do anything for an hour.
Having cold hands is utterly miserable, though. If you've got warm hands and warm feet, everything else is kind of, you can suffer for a bit.
Yeah. I can't remember life before I had the
Troy Lee design swelters.
I wish you didn't find that microphone. But
You are.
Good, isn't it?
You are the
okay, next
stream.
one. At KD4WG91. If genitalias had to be somewhere else on your body, where would you have them and why? That should have said genitals, by the way, not genitalias.
I quite like genitalias. It was cute. I thought that was... I just immediately assumed that the person writing that question was like 14. If you had to have genitalias on you...
Is your bum classed as... That's not genitalia. So, therefore, I reckon just pop it on the back instead.
Would you? Yeah.
Out of the way, so you could like reverse up to your
yeah,
and you'd have to sit on your nuts.
Easy to hide. Yeah, well, then if you didn't have anything on the front, you just like perch forwards.
Yeah, there you go. I'd have dick in the armpits, balls in the other side. So you just got both sides, just have them in there. You know, they stink anyway, don't they?
The pipework for that sounds complicated.
It does. Imagine the delay. And close.
This is getting more towards what a normal Ollie and Milky conversation is.
It is closer. Yeah, we lose control in the.
Yeah, our listeners are great.
Yeah, they are really good. Yeah. We should talk about our. No, we should.
No.
Carry on.
At the almost average athlete, what's the most useless talent you have?
I would say bike riding, but it's actually work at least.
Actually,
so it's not that useful, is it? Like, when do I need to get away from someone real fast or like over varied terrain? You know what I mean? It's not really that useful, is it? It's fun. It's not, like, there's a difference between fun and useful. But because it's my job, it is
I guess
useful.
If there was an apocalypse, people aren't looking for the mountain.
No, they're not like, I need the 170. We need to get away down this steep hill with loads of
Where's
jumps
the dude who can do cutters?
Exactly, yeah.
How good at something do you have to be for it to class as a talent and not just something you're doing badly? Because I make pastry or something really badly, and that's utterly useless for me to do.
Yeah, see, because you're good at you're world renowned as a carbonara chef. Actually, I've heard from numerous people that you actually make a good carbonara.
That only made carbonara, I think it would stay in business.
It would, wouldn't it? Get
Really?
get good reviews. But then equally, is that helpful? I mean, you can entertain guests as long as they like carbonara.
If I was running a restaurant that made carbonara and it was making loads of money, that's just as useful as biking is for you.
It's true.
Yeah. If it's making you money, it's useful, surely.
That's your calling, dude. Maybe that's your calling. Bristol. You're in Bristol,
I am, yeah.
It's quite trendy there. You could probably get away with a carbonara restaurant.
Yeah. I think if you're going to pick one dish that your eatery serves on its own, obviously I would say this, but high on the list.
The good thing about carbonara as well is that even if they do get food poisoning from it, you can just be like, no, it just comes out quick. You know what I mean? You can like...
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like the consistency is just like, imagine the phone conversation. Like, Jacob, I was on the toilet as soon as I got home. And then I can imagine you replying, no, that's normal. It's carbonara. It comes out quick.
Well, it's if it's already happened, then why are we talking? You know? You're out the other side already, pal. I'll sit next to it.
Wow.
There you go. There's customer care in Jacob's Carbonara restaurant. I've got the squids. What are we talking about?
Holy shit. At Funky DMTB, if the pandemic hadn't happened, would the podcast ever have been in your lives?
Wow.
I'm slightly offended by that because the podcast was a thing before the pandemic. People don't...
Dude, the funny thing is, we did talk about it for years, didn't we?
I was doing this for years.
Yeah.
And then the whole country got plunged into darkness and had nothing to do with their lives. And
then people discovered it. Wow, thank you to the 4 people that listened before the pandemic for standing by it.
I think we would have done it eventually anyway, though, eh? Well, maybe... No, we talked long enough about it, so probably we wouldn't have.
We did, didn't we?
Was Olly joining a thing that only started with the pandemic?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, there we go.
That was basically that we had nothing to do.
Yeah.
And I called up Olly and said, do you want to do this? And he said, yeah.
Lockdown companion, dude. What were you doing? What were you doing in the lockdown?
Yeah,
you
what
weren't
were you
listening,
doing?
you fuck.
Who, me?
You
me?
fuck.
You are. What did I do?
Yeah.
In the first
Why weren't you listening?
I literally just spent the entire time in the woods trail building.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, just went and revamped a bunch of the local trails that I'd been saying I would do when I had some spare time, and then lo and behold, I had quite a lot of spare time.
Wicked.
Yeah.
Much the same as what I did. Plus the podcast, to be honest.
Yeah. Biking was actually the best thing ever during the lockdown, because there was, a week or two maybe where you weren't really allowed to do it, and then you were allowed to go out on your own or with one other person, but you had to stay whatever distance away. So just loads of catching up with people for a ride in the woods. It was lovely.
It is kind of weirdly like a recipe for success for biking, isn't it? Like, it's not almost a surprise it's done so well.
Yeah.
Because, backed into a corner, what are you going to do? Go bike riding. But it's just an easy thing to crack on with when you can't do anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bikes are good.
They are bloody
good,
aren't they?
They are good. They are good. We're very lucky that we're sat here talking about them.
Absolutely.
Really. At Ash Crow, you've got to feed yourself for a week on £5, 5 English pounds. What are you going to buy?
For a week?
A week on a £5.
I reckon.
Mate, up north, we do a week's worth of shopping on a £5.
Beans on toast for a week.
Beans on toast.
I like beans on toast.
I reckon you could do 2 or 3 loaves of cheap bread and 2 or 3 tins, you'd need maybe 5 or 6 tins of cheap. Yeah, I reckon it'd be close.
20p, aren't they sometimes? Beans.
Yeah.
Certain supermarkets.
I eat quite a lot though, so your farts that week would be awful, but
reckon you could do a week's worth of carbonara for a £5?
Not a chance, dude. It's got parmesan in it, and parmesan's well expensive.
True.
What else does it have in it, Jacob?
go away. I know what your name is here.
I'll get baguette rice. Biggest baguette rice I could. Big bag of rice. Yeah, and then I'd just try and find a selection of sauces.
You're doing just plain rice and sauce for a week.
Yeah, dude. Because then you got just the stodge that you need. You know, in a week, I normally I'm not really drawn to stodge or bread or any of that.
Where's your protein coming from?
I hadn't thought about that. I was just giving you my answer, right? No,
I'm just saying
Where's your protein coming from?
Beans. Beans have got protein in.
Well, all right, then. I'll get beans as well. Jesus.
Come on.
I'll get rice and beans.
Rice and beans. Yeah. I'd go potatoes, me. I'd go chips.
Oh,
mashed potato.
Would you? Yeah, potatoes safe bet. Actually, that's a good shout. Yeah.
Jacket potato. You can have all sorts of different potatoes.
Yeah, versatile food stuff is a potato.
Yeah, it is.
It is very versatile.
All right. Well done, you guys, and not well done, Ollie, who just chose rice.
Well, I don't know. So far, all Davey's got is potato, which on its own is also not exactly nutritionally balanced. But
no, it's not. Very bland.
Isn't avocado very nutritionally balanced? Don't get many for a $5, but like it has. You could eat just avocado.
You'd have 2 for a week.
Ben from Goodyear gave us a good story the other day about working. He got a job. He's hungover on his first day in a Michelin-star restaurant, right? So he's a line chef. In the line, they're just giving him jobs, and he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. He's lied on his CV. You know, he's written a load of bullshit. Anyway, it comes to the avocados. They're like, it's the breakfast service. They're like, oh, dude, can you just peel the avocados? You know, just do the avocados. Get them ready. So he's got a potato peeler. And he's peeling them. And the guy's like, what are you doing? And Ben got away with it by saying we didn't have avocados in the UK because this job was overseas. How amazing is that? And they bought it.
How do you get the stone out of an avocado? What's your technique? Because the avocado hand is a thing, apparently.
Yeah, big time. I've heard loads of people. Well, no, I know someone who's done it. And I cut my hands, and she said, was this cooking or like something? It wasn't. I cut my fingers mounting a jigsaw. But that in itself is another story.
That's insane. Hey, let me show you something. This proves I'm old. I'll be back in 2 seconds. This proves I'm old.
Wow. Yeah.
So what's this better be an avocado unpeeler or something. So my technique is to get half an avocado in the palm of your hand so the stone is facing up, and then just slap a knife into it like that.
Wow, that's a bold move. I'm so different. So I am cut across, like lengthways, and like move it round so that you're cutting up, and then twist it to pop the 2 sides apart so that you can see the stone, and then just like knife into it and then twist the knife and the stone pops out.
That's what I do. I've got the same technique as you.
Safe.
What do you do, Davey?
Davies is mental. Listen to this.
I bet he puts it up his arse.
I get a sword.
Go on.
No, I don't think so. So I end up with the avocado in the palm of my hand.
Yeah, near all the arteries. In half.
Yeah, near all the arteries.
Hold on, you've already cut it in half at this point, or it's just.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
it was a crucial piece of information you missed first time round. That changes everything.
Okay. It's in half.
I thought you just had a whole avocado in your hand and went whang right through all of it into the stone. That was mental.
What tool have you got, Ollie? Have you got a chainsaw or something?
Mate, this is so good. You know, old people like my dad. My dad just gets drawn in by Facebook ads. You know what I mean? So then he just ends up with this shite. It is shite as well, but it's got a good video. And then
you got a toe.
And then and then Bren bought the other day. He bought one of these degrouting tools. Again, the same. You know, they have like a video, and you're like, if you're, I guess I'm a bit that way inclined. Like if there's something that's like a chain breaker or like a useful oil filter spanner, I could perhaps be seen to buy one. If it looked that good. Anyway, I got this one. This makes me laugh so much. It's the slap job.
No! I've also seen that looks insane.
What is it?
Dude.
Dave, come on, get on board.
All right,
Wow.
so you just get...
Is it circumcising
you can do it with
machine?
vegetables. I need to send you the slap chop advert because it's incredible and then you can play that. But this is the slap chop. So you just put vegetables in, like mushrooms, and you just tunk, and it does all of them into tiny pieces. And then you can like machine gun fire it, and it does it into tiny, tiny pieces.
Wow.
Incredible.
Slap
But
chop.
I was like, shit,
Amazing
I'm actually
name.
old. Like it actually, yeah, and it's cleanable. That was in the ad as well. I'm literally doing the ad, and it's cleanable too. Easily dishwashable.
So you can do home
Get closer to the
Yeah.
mic. Get closer to the mic.
Oh, am I too far away from the mic? Sorry.
Or if you're doing an advert, you've got to give us your smooth advert voice.
That's right, the slap job. You can make your... I don't even know what it does. Just cut stuff up, but the video was good, so I bought one. So there you go. Slap job.
Wow.
I'm old,
Okay.
motherfuckers.
Should we do one more?
Yeah, go on.
This is a good one. Sean Smith 00 on the Instagram. Bren's asked you to put a death grip up your bum for advertisement. How do you do it?
I need T's and C's, dude. Right,
Ollie's a man with
like, mate,
strong
can you advertise?
opinions about bums.
We talked. Yeah, okay. Why am I doing it? Am I doing it for money? What do I have to do?
Advertising.
For advertising
So
his
there's
grip
gonna-
that makes him money.
I guess, yeah. Why don't we call it the...
If you come up with
Dub
some
grip.
numbers, then I might, we can talk. But I'm not. Ain't nobody putting nothing up my butt.
800 quid.
Such a crap starting number. How far in do I have to go?
800 quid.
Let's move on. Let's do
All right.
another. Let's do another question. Come
Pass
on.
me the coconut oil. Let's get it up there. Okay, next one. Let's do one more question.
Go on.
Daniel Lucy, do you have any unpopular opinions? Love the podcast. Love you both. All right. Unpopular opinion. What you got?
An unpopular opinion. Fuck, I don't know. Probably loads. I don't know. Jacob, you got anything?
I feel like my opinion on most things is widely unpopular, but
Yeah, I feel that way as well. I think nowadays, I'm starting to feel like my opinion is more unpopular the whole time. So I kind of try and dial it down, make it quieter.
I'm with you on that, actually. I feel this. Yeah,
Difficult to have an opinion, isn't it, really?
What's something that a lot of people like, though, that you don't like?
I've never watched Game of Thrones. Like, I've watched
Oh, okay, that's a good...
I've watched 10 minutes of one and thought it was crap, so I didn't bother watching any more.
There you go. That is an
This
unpopular
kind of
opinion.
circles back around to me not really watching that much TV. I watch a lot of films and, like, every now and again watch a series if it's got real good reviews or whatever, but my TV life basically goes as far as just watching Grand Designs once a week. I'm so boring and old.
Hey, that last one was really good, with the natural swimming pool, wasn't it?
Once again, I'm never going to have a house like that, nor do I aim to, but that would be goals. That's goals.
Ollie, haven't you got a natural swimming pool at your house? At the
Oh,
minute?
dude, I do. Do you know, I've got a couple. I've got one coming. I've got a new one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, since I hung out with you, Jacob. So I went away from my house last week to spend a week in the valleys with Jacob. And I had water literally pouring in. Like, it's not dripping. It's pouring in like someone's got a watering can. Like, it fills the bucket. I have to get up during the night. When it's, it was quite torrential rain the other day.
Yeah.
I was having to get up at night and empty the bucket because the bucket was overflowing and waking me up. So that's on my bay windows. Anyway, today I heard a different dripping. I was like, what the fuck? It's not even raining. Like, it's sunny outside. Are you kidding me? There's more water coming through the ceiling in my bathroom. And then the ceiling's all bowed. And then I talked to upstairs about it and they're like, not, I didn't have they assured me it wasn't sewage, but their assurance wasn't the best, I'm still not entirely sure whether it's piss coming through my ceiling. So there you go,
So
if you want some...
Does this mean that you're just condensing everything into one room and turning the house into an aquarium, or?
Dude, do you know what? I just let loose and I just let stuff get damp and just that's how it is. This is like that Instagram versus real life, posting videos of you like, yeah, I'm out riding, yeah, dude, yeah, whips, whoa, and then really I'm at home like Like, it's a horrible feeling having water pour in like that. It makes you feel like...
Really, it's 2 a.m.
coming in.
and you're stood there in your pants with a crutch holding a bucket.
Exactly. Dude, exactly, yeah. There you go.
It's tough. Unpopular opinion, housework is a waste of time. I hate housework.
What's housework entail? What do you mean?
Any kind of decorating.
So doing it is a waste of time, right?
You mentioned before those tile grouters. I mean, that is literally what started Bathroom Gate for me, was a tile grouter. Remember, I literally started taking some grout out of a tile. The next thing, I'm having a whole new bathroom fitted.
Yeah.
DIY is one of those things that you can do. Most people can do a tiny bit, but there comes a point where just get someone who does that in. And to me, Davey, it sounds like that point for you is a fairly low bar.
Very low, mate. It's so low. I'm bad at anything like that. I'm that guy though that gives it a shot. I'm that guy. I'm like,
completely butchers. Calls a pro.
Yeah, saw it on Grand Designs. I can do that. I'll give it a shot. Next thing you know,
well, hey, it's better than not having a go.
Hey, this is a mountain bike podcast. How about my unpopular opinion is that long bikes aren't as fun and you don't get as good at biking on them. That could be my unpopular biking opinion. I'd love to hear your unpopular biking opinions.
Ooh. I would also go as far to say that new flight attendant is a total waste of money for most people.
Ooh, what's that? Oh, yeah, that funny thing. Yeah, 100%. That made me laugh, that did.
I went to Wales on Saturday and did half the day with my shock locked out.
And it was a good half a day, wasn't it, as well? It was enjoyable.
I've had in ages, but you could put that thing on my bike and I'd probably think it was broken, not working well.
Unpopular opinion, flight attendant.
There you go, yeah. Yeah, it seems a bit much.
Okay, with Jacob, thank you. Has this been your first podcast, by the way?
First one with you boys, I think maybe second one ever. There you go.
You're a natural. Awesome. You're a natural. Can we get people to come your way? Do you want people to follow and check out your stuff on Aspect Media, or would you prefer it on Jacob Gibbins Photo?
Jacob Gibbins Photo is where I'm more active. That's kind of where I'm posting more often. But Aspect Media is kind of where it's more of a portfolio of work. So if you want to see what we do, check out both websites and all that kind of bollocks as well.
Yeah, mate. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast and sharing your expertise and your knowledge. And I think a lot of people will gain something from this, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. If anybody's got any other questions, find me on whatever my social channels are and drop me a message. I'll try and get back to anybody with any other answers or questions.
And he's a nice guy too. Knowledgeable, and he's a nice guy. What more could you want?
And I'm in Bristol this week, dude, so I might hit you up. I'm there from Wednesday.
Oh, I might come on Wednesday, actually. I might be there on Wednesday.
Oh, really? Yeah, I'm in Bristol on Wednesday.
Sorry, are you you're both going to be in Bristol soon?
We might both be on Wednesday, yeah.
I'm there on Wednesday and Thursday.
Oh, I'm sadly not here on either of those days, but next time, say
Don't lie.
I'm busy that day. No, I am. I'm sadly actually busy both those days. But hey, next time, give me more notice. Let's go.
No worries. Get fucked. Yeah. No, that's cool. That's cool. Get fucked. Yeah. No, cool. Okay.
And that's the wrap, folks. Thank you to everyone for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, watch Olly's latest video because it's
tanking.
It's
tanking.
It's tanking. And
Thanks for listening to the Ride
Rampage, folks. Oh, and also don't forget to support Miami Dolphins on Sunday. It's on the BBC. That's why I'm wearing the jersey today. They need all the help they can get. Team fucking suck this year. So. Thank you. All right. Done.